John Bidoo, my fellow UTS employees, and welcome back to more Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. In this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards I Put My Penis Inside, the Melfies. That's really their name. You might be thinking, why? They look really soft. Now, so far, Go Rush has been fine, but as we've seen with other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, they all kind of fall off after the first few arcs. And while considering Go Rush is living up to its name, already rushing past 2 arcs, 26 episodes total, we're not even a fourth of the way through. So yeah, it's probably going to get bad faster than usual, especially now since most of the expositing has gone out of the way and the episodes from now on will have little explanation because, again, this is a comedy and is more focused on laughs than storytelling. And unfortunately, I don't think it does that very well. Maybe it's because of its long length, it doesn't have the advantage Seven's had of being this more fast-paced comedy, and because there's so many episodes, it relies more on running gags and characters acting weird, then working in those things into the main story no matter how inconsequential it seems. So you better pay attention, because it not only happens in this arc, it even incorporates things I discussed last time, so you better be taking notes. With that said, let's finish Season 1 of the best season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, then see how the last and latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Series goes downhill. Now you may remember last time that the entire town of Mutsuba was turned into a spaceship and is flying toward the mysterious Great King of Terror. So of course the next 5 episodes barely mention any of those things or explore them in an interesting way. The characters don't even react to the fact that their whole fucking town became a spaceship. I know it's a comedy and you're supposed to roll with it and laugh, but I'd also like it if the characters reacted. I mean, to more things than just characters say something weird and then they go, "That's not correct." There's a term for that in Japanese comedy, I forget what it's called. You might be thinking, well, these episodes must have something to them, right? No, because they're all a bunch of nothing, like this one. It's about everyone helping Shupataro make an anime based on Meg-chan. That's the entire episode, nothing else happens. I do like that you at least see the anime they made. It's the entire second half of the episode. And I like that Meg is the only thing drawn well while everything else looks crappy because he didn't really care. Fun episode, but read the room. After the last arc, I want answers or a continuation, not a joke episode. The next episode, remember Valvagear fused with the spaceship to help pilot it, but UTS finds out they are being overworked by Asaka, who of course self-appointed herself as captain of the ship, and is overworking the Valgarians because she is determined to protect the town from the Great King of Terror herself, and she wants to get there ASAP. So Yuhi challenges her to a duel. But if you remember, Yuhi's disc is the Valvagear, so he can't. And instead of Yuamu or any other UTS member just lending him their disc, Yuhi instead duels in paper, with UTS making costumes to represent his cards. Cute. Why can't you just borrow a dual disc? Also, like Sevens, when a new mechanic is introduced, the other characters start using it too, as both Yuhi and Asaka have equip spells now. I guess they released them in the latest set, after they went to space, like yesterday. Yuhi wins, but Asaka refuses to let up to protect the Earth. But Kappa tells her they're already at max speed, so chill, girl. The next episode is really nothing. Yuhi and Yuamu are hired by Asaka to handle a disgruntled townsperson who's complaining about how she's driving. This citizen is a caveman who has a saying that I think is a reference to the Flintstones? Is that a big thing in Japan? Udius ends up dueling him to learn balance, and that's the important thing, that in this episode, Yuna returns Udius' duel disc, mentioning she didn't want to, but he kept bugging her about it. Wonder who she's talking about. In the next one, it turns out Yuamu loves entering raffles and contests to get collectibles, and tries to get the last plate for her collection she needs from a bakery sticker raffle thing. But they're out because they all broke after the owner collapsed. So Yuamu challenges him to a duel, for some kind of prize because she's owed one. It's nice Yuamu got something else than being a nerd. Too bad it's stupid. But again, because it's Go Rush, this episode that seems like a bunch of nothing actually super matters, because the people who run this bakery are Zuijou and Mitsuko, and they only sell curry bread, despite the fact Zuijou hates it. And it's that, by the way. That's the most important thing I have brought up so far, and probably will in this entire series. Curry bread. I'm not kidding, this is a misdirection or a gag. Curry bread is the most important thing in this entire universe. Underline it in your notes. Well, after all that, the Mutsuba ship is almost at the Great King of Terror, and everyone meets knowing they'll have to duel him, probably. So, who's gonna do it? While discussing this, Ronron contacts them from Earth. I don't think I mentioned it, she's not from Mutsuba Town. She forbids them from fighting the King of Terror and turn that ship around, but of course Asaka does not take orders, period. And since they're both boss bitches who won't back down, they settle it in a rush duel. A remote rush duel. Because they're far away from each other. Yeah, I tried not to mention it, mainly because thinking about one of the worst times in my life is not something I usually try to do. But yeah, Sevens was the Yu-Gi-Oh series made during the pandemic, which probably affected its production and why it was so little episodes. And I liked the show, so I didn't really bring it up. Go Rush started airing in 2022, which was at the tail end of it, but I guess since remote everything was still very prevalent, they decided to do a whole episode that's basically a tutorial for a remote duel. Also the only time in the Yu-Gi-Oh series history where a character reading the card's effects actually makes sense in universe because it's over a computer. Cute, but ultimately meaningless. More importantly, remember that Kirishima stole a ship with this asshole, and he's the first person to make it to the Great King of Terror, where he meets the King's Chief of Staff, who calls himself the Providence, which I doubt is his real name, sounds more like his gamer tag. And we don't see what happens, but that asshole duels on the ship, and Kirishima is scared stiff about what the Great King does to him. And Mutsuba Town's about to find out as they make it to the Great King of Terror's ship. Those who go on board are UTS, Rovian, Yuna, Asaka, Manya, Bochi, Manabu, and Yandestar, who by the way has been acting very strange herself since hearing about the Great King of Terror. And once on board the ship, they meet the Providence, and meet this terrifying king.
こちらが北極級星雲の大王ザ・ルーグ様にあられる縛れるね
Yeah, the Lug. Gonna let you know right now, while everyone else is kinda obvious at this point, you might be wondering, what's this alien's relation to Luke? Well, I have an idea, and I'll tell you once we make it to the end of the show. I don't like it. Anyway, Rovian's hat Kamos really wants them all to rush duel, and the Lug is actually really chill. That's not a pun, considering his ship is being frozen cold. He's very relaxed and kind of lazy, nothing like a Great King of Terror. But he agrees to it and holds a friendship rush duel tournament, because the Lug's goal, I guess, is to travel the cosmos and learn more about other planets and species, or so he says. So every round will be one of the Lug's crew against someone from Mutsuba Town. Usually Udius would be up for some dueling, but he's preoccupied because he swears he's heard the Lug's name before somewhere. So luckily he doesn't have to duel, because first up is Rovian versus the Lug himself, fulfilling this prophecy she's been trying to stop for the longest time, apparently. Too bad she's being used for power scaling, having this arc's big bad beat the last one, so she loses. And taking down the Lug might be harder than expected, because he reveals that this was his first ever rush duel and he just won naturally. But that's not all, because he knows losing sucks, so to cheer up Rovian, he shows her something in a box. And she gets frozen solid, but it's not ice, because no matter what, it won't melt. Yuna is obviously destroyed by this, so she goes off on her own to have her only employee, the Rush Duel card designer, to make a card that can beat the Lug. Meanwhile, the others have to go back and duel, but they need that card, so they send Yandestar to get it. But when she gets it and tries to give it to her friends, she's stopped by Kirishima. So the gang have to duel without it, and up next is Manya versus Mokeda Mbebe. No, great, they all have dumb names. He's a dinosaur obsessed with models. I'm sure it's some kind of pun in Japanese. Amy does actually win, so she doesn't get frozen, but Dino Butt does. And that's when Udius realizes where he heard the Lug's name before, cause he's a mangaka. Specifically, the creator of Mr. Universe. Yeah, remember the manga Nomura Damas, or whatever his name was using it to predict the future? See what I tell ya, things that seemed so insignificant at one point that I said in a sentence in the last video come back up and super matter. Pay attention. Well, who cares about that though? Everyone is more concerned about where Yandestar is with this card, because according to the card designer, he already gave it to her. Well, no time to look, because the next match is about to start, and it's Manabu versus Yandestar? Nani the fuck? She's on the Lug's team? And she's hot? Man, is there any better trope than a cat who turns into a sexy woman in anime? I think not. Well, maybe Tsundere's. Despite this alleged betrayal, Manabu duels sexting Yandestar, and also Manya is able to catch Kirishima. The duel's fine for Manabu, as it's obvious none of them want to do this, but he just wants to find out why she betrayed them, and learn more about her in general, because she says the sexy form is her true form, thank god, but he didn't even know about it. But when it looks like he's about to win, Yandestar uses that special card that Yuna made. That's right, Fusion's back, baby, even sooner than before, and using it she wins. That means Manabu is about to be frozen, But at the last second, Yonde Star takes the box, saying if she can't accomplish her mission, she wants to know what's inside, and gets frozen. Wanting to know what's going on, Manabu interrogates Kirishima, who doesn't give anything up. Then when he's left alone, one of the Skyfish informants helps him escape, because one of them earlier got frozen, because he wanted to find out what's in the box. Because it's information he doesn't know, that's his thing. Meanwhile, Yuna, determined to save Rovian, decides to make a fusion card herself by hand, mainly because her card designer guy disappeared. He tends to do that. The others find out Kirishima escaped, but he left a tape recorder. Ask your parents if you don't know what that is. Where he explains that the first person Yonde Star met when she came to Earth was him? Where she told him she's not a cat, she's an alien with a more human form from a planet called Hotner, if they're not based around cats. But all of its people were frozen by the Lug, except her. And wanting to get revenge and free her people, she somehow wound up on Earth as a cat. She does not know how or why this happened though. So Kirishima, who at the time was lost trying to find meaning in his life, agrees to help her and became a manager for Manya to gather intel. Because what better way to get info than from the entertainment industry, I guess. And help Yonde Star, he also went along with Rovian's plans. And finally he reveals he's dueling the Lug right now, so they all head over to the Lug ship, but are too late, showing up at the end of the duel where he lost. And is shown the box, but secretly, he had the Skyfish informant on him. And while most of them get frozen, one manages to escape the freezing, and is able to tell the others what's in the box. It's a boring manuscript. A boring, unfinished manuscript for the Mr. Universe manga. Also keep in mind, what I'm about to tell you, to explain all this, is not the stupidest explanation in this show. Okay, so, the Lug is a mangaka, who is the biggest producer of negative energy in the universe, cause he sucks at drawing manga. It's really boring, but the rest of it is fine. So, the Mr. Universe manga everyone reads is an edited version made for general audiences so they don't freeze. Why his manuscript is freezing people is cause negative energy can be produced from negative emotions, like boredom. And his manga is so boring, anyone who sees it produces so much negative energy that they freeze. But he thinks his work is good, so he's showing it to everyone when they lose to cheer them up. But it's actually freezing them, and he's kind of an idiot so he doesn't really notice or care. So yeah, leave a comment telling me how you feel about all of that. I can tell you that Providence is kind of pissed. He's apparently been serving Lug to figure out how he's freezing people, but now knowing it's a dumb manga, he's over it. Because him and the others on the Lug ship are apparently people whose planets were visited by the Lug and had all their people frozen and just kind of joined up with them. So the Providence has a plan, the same one the Mutsuba town comes up with. That the Lug is under the impression his manga is good because it sells well, not aware that it's heavily edited. So they just have to tell him it sucks and they will seal his power, meaning he'll stop showing his manuscript. So to do this in the next duel, Yuamu duels a Yeti, and they both subtly and not so subtly try to tell the Lug his shit is ass. But he's stupid and does not get it at all. At least Yuamu wins. And in the end, all of them convince the Lug not to show the manuscript anymore because it's too good, shouldn't spoil things, and it almost kinda works. Until, out of seemingly nowhere, yugioh shows up and tells the Lug they're all lying and his manga is the worst thing put on paper since the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 manga ending. And this causes Lug to crash out, expelling so much negative energy that it's erasing things consisting of positive energy, like rush duels, and good manga, and catgirl porn. Not the catgirl porn. Quick, somebody stop him! Oh, well, they don't. They instead, Yuhi duels yugioh, cause he's tired of his shit. As yugioh reveals, he's the one who introduced the Lug to rush duels. On his way to Earth, he ran into the Lug, and like rush duels, knew he could use his powers for the war on Velgear and manipulated him. Luckily, watching the duel calms the Lug down a bit, but he goes off again when his Mr. Universe anime isn't aired, instead it's some crappy Meg-chan anime. And using this opportunity, yugioh wins the duel with his dark hole. And everyone starts to freeze and more porn disappears. That's when UTS see the boring manuscript by accident. But to their surprise, they're not affected. Neither is yugioh, and Yuamu thinks that he knows the secret to why they aren't affected. And it's not just them, cause Yuna and Asaka show up and are also unaffected by all this negative energy. But this time Yuna's arrived with another fusion card. If you're wondering, yugioh has the original, he took it off of Yonde Star's corpse. Well, now the goal is to stop the Lug, and Yudia steps up, but Yuna also wants vengeance for Rovi and Samba. So the two tag duel, because Lug can split himself into two. This is a weirdly consistent reoccurring power for random villains in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Things don't start off very good for the two Yus. What's more, since she had to make the new fusion card by hand, Yuna is weak and can't continue the duel, and it looks like Yudias might have to duel on his own. Until a familiar-looking robot arrives and saves Yuna. And then, a kid in some familiar armor shows up.
ラッシュデュエルの発案設計さらに携帯型デュエルディスクをはじめとした要するに あいつが全部作ったってことですが、ラッシュデュエルを。ラッシュデュエルの本当の開発者？
久しぶりだね、ユーディアス。そして随以上も。
We don't know this mysterious man's name, only that he's the true creator of Rush Duels. According to Yuna and Asaka, he just showed up out of nowhere one day and made Rush Duels, claiming to be from the future. He joins Udius in dueling the Lug, and we also find out that not only is he the person that gave Udius his duel disc and cards, but also the first person the creator met when he arrived was Yugioh. The two crashed into each other, and Yugioh was looking for Rush Duels and told the creator about his Star War, that still doesn't sound right, going on. And he didn't want to make them at first, but the guy decided to make Rush Duels despite not wanting to help the Valgyrians. And man, it's crazy. Who could this mysterious genius creator be? I mean, it's a complete mystery. Oh, they just show it's Yuga. What the fuck? Why are you going through all this trouble then of hiding his face if you're just gonna show it in a cutaway slide? Did an intern mess up and put that in by accident? Seriously, that's so weird. They tried so hard to not show that it's Yuga, and then they just show it's him. But, yeah, spoilers, I guess. This is Yuga, like the same Yuga from Sevens. This is him. If you remember, at the end of that where he disappeared after beating Otis for 2 years, this is where he was. He time traveled to the past. Yeah. Now you may be thinking, doesn't Yuga being here making Rush Duels decades before they should exist and interacting with his and his friends' ancestors just absolutely gang rape the entire space-time continuum? Yes, but the show just kinda ignores a lot of time travel rules, as in they don't even bother trying to make it make sense, just roll with it. Anyway, during the duels, Yugioh can't hold up against the negative energy anymore and seemingly disappears. In the duel, with Yuga's help, Udius gives a speech to the Lug about never giving up, who cares his manga's ass, everyone makes shit before they make gold. Just keep trying and improve, blah blah blah, and with Fusion and Ace monsters, they beat the Lug and successfully convince him to chill, no pun intended. Hell, when he actually reads his manga manuscript, even he thinks it's boring. But one problem, everyone is still frozen and no one knows how to unfreeze them. So UTS heads to Zuijou's bakery to ask Mitsuko if he knew anything about the secret of beating negative energy. She doesn't know, only that he was obsessed with curry bread. And hopefully you've deduced it yourself. Yeah, that's the thing that unfreezes people. Curry bread. Why? So everyone is unfrozen and the day is saved. But to Yuna's anger, Yuga up and left again. And we see he's on the Lug spaceship, traveling with him to unfreeze all the worlds he visited. As the Great King of Terror arc ends. But they're not heading back to Earth yet, because in the next episode about parodying all the chants the characters do when they summon their ace monsters, Manabu and Yondastar make up, and the ship is now heading to planet Partner to unfreeze her people. And they get there pretty fast in the next episode and unfreeze all of them. That was easy. So Yondastar is reunited with her family. And it turns out Partner solves inequality, as the concept of winners and losers does not exist here, which is why when the Lug showed up to play games, they lost and got frozen. So when Rush Duels are mentioned, they all run in fear, but the others want to show them Rush Duels are epic sauce. And Manabu realizes someone's watching them. Another Valgyrian, Dinoa Velgear, who works under Zuijouh as his tactician. She's watching them under Zuijouh's orders, she says. So yeah, somehow he's still out there alive and still working on whatever plan he's got. Hearing this, Mitsuko challenges her to a Rush Duel to find out where Zuijouh is. In a not-so-subtle way, they fight over him. Homegirls are craving that Zui dick. Dinoa teases Mitsuko the whole duel about how Zuijouh was just using her and never cared about her. Which she's right, Zuijouh is actually a massive dick to Mitsuko for the rest of the show, because I guess it's funny. And this backfires, pissing off Mitsuko, as she beats Dinoa, saying now she'll get that cheating bastard. And Dinoa lets slip that Zuijouh is back home in the Velgear star cluster, so the Mutsuba ship heads there next. Oh, also after watching the duel, the Potnerians now think children's card games are epic sauce. Before they can go to Velgear, they're gonna need Gorodonium, a special fuel source that will let them travel at faster than the speed of light. Is it really that hard? Yuga did it in the end of Sevens. Just ask him. Oh, right, he's going. So they stop on some planet and meet an alien named Shubaha, who won't give it to them. So Yuhi challenges him to a Rush Duel. Gamu and Asaka try to tell him, like on Partner, not everyone in the universe knows about Rush Duels, but Shubaha does. It has cards. Nani the fuck? Well, the two duel, and by accident, thanks to Asaka's driving, Yuhi and Yuamu's decks got swapped. But that's when we learned something that doesn't really matter, that the Dragon deck used to be Yuhi's after losing to Kappa. He switched decks with Yuamu to train and get better. Cool, that gets brought up sometimes, but it doesn't affect anything in the show at all. Yuhi wins, and we find out Gorodonium is actually the bones of space dragons. Alright, that's kinda awesome. Meanwhile, we see Zuijouh return to Velgear in a familiar-looking relic. We then see back on Earth, Ron feels helpless as she can't do much to help the others in space because she's back on Earth guarding the Earth Dahmer. So a voice compels her to try to improve by getting over her fear of uncute things. And the main thing she hates is the Earth Dahmer, and she takes a new recruit that was helping her down to the Earth Dahmer vault. But it was a trick, as the recruit is really Yugioh Velgear, another Velgirian working for Zexel, who manipulated Ron. But then Uno reverse card, bitch, as Ron got tipped off to his tricks and tricked him. So now the two settle it in a rush duel. Seems like she's about to lose until suddenly she starts hearing another voice. But it's not Miyuta, this one's a lot more childlike and playful. And she gets back on her feet and wins the duel, thanks to her having fusion too, thanks to a letter from Manabu. Wow, space mail travels fast. But it's not really a win, because that voice was the Earth Dahmer. Seems this rush duel attracted it, and it possesses the woman's Ron, I guess. Well, it's not really a woman, as this isn't done by malice or by a creepy pervert. Because it seems the Earth Dahmer is like a kid, only wanting to have fun. And when Miyuta tells it Zexel has all the fun in space, it takes off with him in Ron's body. See, he can travel at the speed of light without dragon bones. Back in space, Mutsuba Town makes it to the Velgear cluster, but have a run-in with the Dukas, the Switzerland of Velgear, as they have a massive army and resources, but have not picked sides in this war. They are pure neutral. And that's bad, as Yama points out, they are a strange ship who just showed up out of nowhere in neutral space. That's not a good thing. And when Udius tries to speak to them to calm the situation, they immediately send their soldiers into Mutsuba Town to capture him. Udius knows he can clear it up if he can get to the commander's ship, so the others help him get there by tricking the Dukas. Oh, and also they show that Mutsuba Town somehow don't know they're in space and that there are aliens around, as the mains try to hide what this is from the extras by saying it's a TV show. Which they do clarify later in the next arc. No, these people aren't stupid. The citizens actually already know about aliens, because I mean, how could you not living in Mutsuba Town? But for some reason, the main characters just think that people haven't realized that they're in a spaceship and that the Luke ship happened and literally everything else that happens in the show, they just think they're fucking blind or something. I don't know. Maybe it's the main characters that are stupid. Anyway, UTS managed to make it into the commander's ship and meet with him, Duty Nishaw. And we find out why the duties are so neutral. Not because picking a side in war can lead to many ramifications for you and your people down the line. No, it's because this race is just incredibly indecisive. It's a natural born trait. So much so that they use a coin flip to determine major decisions for them. So to prove they're on the up and up, Udius challenges Nishaw to a duel. And to their surprise, he has cards. Because according to him, Zexel has been going around spreading cards in all of Velgear. His plan is already in motion, so no time to waste. But they actually have all the time, as during the duel, we see the duties have domain expansion. Seriously, because when they take too long to make a decision, they emit a space around them to speed up time, and they take decades, as Yuamu and Yuhi age up and can crumble to dust if the duel doesn't finish in time. So Udius' protagonist speeches convince the duties to nut up and decide to take some risks. And Nishaw does, winning the duel. Oh, well, that protagonist speech backfired. But at least the twins are back to normal, and seeing Udius' conviction, the duties swear allegiance to him in helping end this war. And just when things are looking good for our protags, at that moment, something crashes into Mutsuba Town. It's Ron. Yuta manages to escape, but after getting Ron some help, she tells Manabu about the whole Earth Dahmer thing, and he believes it's now possessing someone else as it appears to have left her body. But who knows who it could be, as it seems to be hiding. After some nonsense, he thinks Rovian has it, and the two duel. And they both realize through the duel who has the Earth Dahmer. But thanks to Miyuta trying to escape, the two of them are sucked out into space. But the others soon realize that Yuamu is the one possessed by the Earth Dahmer, and she steals Udius' hat and starts running around with her arms out like an airplane and holding a stick with a giant poop at the end of it. Is this a Dr. Slump reference? Most of you probably don't know this manga, but you might know the art style, cause it was Akira Toriyama's first published manga in Shonen Jump, before Dragon Ball. That is quite a pull, referencing a 40-year-old manga that only hardcore fans or boomers know about, like me. Considering this is a kid's show for kids whose parents probably weren't even alive at the time that manga came out, that's definitely a topical reference. Well, anyway, this is also to show that the Earth Dahmer is just running around trying to find something fun. And then, despite not having any effects before, Yuhi starts acting different. Literally more logical, calm, boring. Cause his Earth Dahmer is all his positive energy, and now he wants no fun and plans on demolishing UTS to make a hotel or something. It ends up with him dueling Yuamu possessed, not womaned. This is not a womaning, I'm not gonna call it that. Relax, I know you all like it, but not everything's a woman. It's a feeling, you know, you gotta feel it right here. The real woman's inside of us. Okay, when I say inside of you, not like pegging or anything. Luckily, friendship gets Yuhi to turn back to normal, but Earthdalmer Yuamu ends up winning, and if Yuhi lost, he became Earthdalmer's friend, and it takes him and Miyuta to Zuijou. So now the twins are on planet Velgear with the enemy. At least the Earthdalmer leaves Yuamu, who's a little out of sorts from all that. And we see the Earthdalmer has evolved. It's no longer a glob, it actually has a physical body. And surprisingly progressive for Yu-Gi-Oh!, the body is not identified as male or female, and characters refer to them as they-them. Well, most of the time they refer to them by their name, Dormammu. If I accidentally say Dormammu, it's because I'm a nerd. Dormammu just kinda takes Yuhi and Yuamu around the planet looking for fun, while Zuijou leaves them alone to enact the final part of his plan. While that happens, the twins deal with Dormammu as well as dealing with the Velgarians under Zuijou, who are training for war with children's card games. This ends up with them having to stop a Dormammu who's giant like a Power Rangers monster. Oh yeah, so Dormammu basically has these unexplained, almost omnipotent powers. Because he's an Earthdalmer, they can just do crazy shit for no reason. The only explanation we get is Earthdalmers are the embodiment of curiosity, which is why they're so happy and fascinated by everything. It's a literal ball of positive energy, and we already saw with the Lug what negative energy can do, so that's why they can travel through space at the speed of light and all this other reality-bending shit. They're happy. Can't relate personally. Eventually the twins calm them down, but that's when Zuijou starts his regime. As the Council of Velgear announce it's official, they're going to use cardboard to fight their war. Hooray! The twins and Dormammu go to the council to stop them, but see that they've all been frozen. Yep, he kept some of the Lug's manuscript and is using it to take control of the Velgear government. But luckily, Mutsuba Town and Udius arrive to stop Zuijou. And Zuijou points out that he probably hasn't figured out a way to use rush tools non-violently, has he? But to prove he has found another way, Udius of course duels Zuijou. But not in person. Instead, the Velgear turns into a giant dual disc. Okay, again, is that cool or lame? Can't say both this time. Well, I guess Zuijou thought it was cool because his does too. Also Dormammu, who got a ship and still has the twins. So it's 2-on-1, which seems unfair, but that's when the Luke ship shows up, with Yuga on it, as he joins the duel. And now it's a tag duel, Zuijou and Dormammu versus Udius and Yuga, in the final duel of Season 1. And since solid vision isn't enough to project giant monsters in space, all the characters use ships and fly out to project the monsters, because Udius also has all of his friends' ace monsters in his deck, which seems like a terrible way to build a deck. Yuga doesn't agree because if you remember, at the end of Sevens, he had his friends' cards in his deck when he dueled Otis, and he still has them. As we see Manabu and Rovian pilot those cards, because Luke's ship saved them when they were shot into space. During the duel, we also really learned something that no one really asked: how Udius and Zuijou found out about rush duels. Udius explains that when he was on their planet Go Rush U, he happened to find a relic that had a similar sounding prophecy, that on the night of a full moon, a warrior will carve a path with rush duels, and that got Udius to go in search of them. But Zuijou found it a different way, because if you remember, he did die during the war. That actually happened. But to his surprise, he revived on Go Rush U inside the relic, and he met God. Well, not really. It's more accurate to say he met the creator, not of the universe, but of the Velgarians. Who reveals to Zuijou Velgarians can revive and never die, because they are artificial. In reality, they were made by this creator for a game. They're all game pieces, and because of that, can never be living creatures, just pawns to this creator. And after learning of this, rush duels, and then the Earthdalmer, Zuijou's plan isn't to use the Earthdalmer to win the war here. That's just step one, because after uniting everyone on Velgear, he plans on taking an army to Earth and taking all of the humans' Earthdalmers, because if it can make monsters in a card game real, then it can make them real. Honestly, probably one of the better plans and backstories for a Yu-Gi-Oh villain. Too bad we're learning it at the finale. Like, it's almost sad in a way, because Zuijou clearly isn't doing this to be evil. He knows it's wrong, but he's doing it for the betterment of his own race, billions of people, to feel real instead of being pawns in some game. If only it wasn't at the end, and in a better show. Udius refuses to join Zuijou in taking over Earth, because he says it doesn't matter if they're real or fake or whatever. He couldn't continue living on knowing he doomed an entire planet. That's just not living. And that battle isn't the only way to the future, as rush duels can also be used to understand each other, and that this is the true path to a bright future, one where everyone understands each other. Sorry, I'm allergic to pussy shit. And Udius, thanks to his friends' cards that he's come to know and understand on his journey, he beats Zuijou, finally getting him to understand war's bad, okay? Oh, and eventually Yuhi took over the duel for Dormammu after they got hurt, and the U's tied. But that's it, the duel's over, and now Mutsuba Town is headed home for Earth, but with one less passenger. Udius is gonna stay behind, cause he did his goal. He learned about rush duels, proved they can work to end this conflict, and now he has the backing of his countrymen, Zuijou and Switzerland. So, It's time to put all that to use, and end the war in the Velgear cluster. Of course, Yuhi and Yuanu don't want to leave and even offer to stay to help, but he tells them they did enough, and he's still a member of UTS and will return someday, as he heads off to end the war. As Moods of Town return home, but everyone of course sad UTS isn't with them. But he will return one day, cause he did promise, and Season 1 comes to an end. And that's Season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, and again, overall, not that bad, right? I mean, while very nonsensical, it's got some spots of cool moments and decent writing and characters. I don't know, man, I just don't find the series to be as funny as Seven's. I don't know what it is. I think maybe because it's just more reliant on character gags and weird shit on the screen, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 was just like, here's some weird fucking joke and then they move on, like back to back, you know? Kind of like a SpongeBob episode. It's like Seven's at all times, this was a comedy. Go Rush, it feels like it's trying to be half and half. It's trying to be a weird absurdist comedy, but then also tell me these serious stories from time to time. Not like they're super serious or dramatic or anything, but it definitely feels like it's trying to come off that way. Who knows, maybe it will succeed because, my fellow UTS members, that was just Season 1, only the first 51 episodes. There are still 2 seasons and 100 episodes left to go. We're not even anywhere near done this bitch. And Season 2 is the season that will show you it does not need to be that long for many reasons. As you can really call Season 2 of Go Rush, characters dick around until the plot decides to happen again. Doesn't that sound fun? It's not, I watched it, it's not. So join me next time for Season 2 of Go Rush, where UTS will return to Earth, but not as quickly as you expect, as for the first time in a singular Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, I think, we get a time skip in between arcs, almost like a real shonen anime. And when he does return, he'll run into something no alien should encounter on Earth. The MIBs. But well, the MIKs, just minus the catchy as hell rap theme. See you then.
Go Rush!